Hello everyone. We're going to do another video today. This is going to be a software video, much similar to my free software for laser engravers video, but this one is going to be mainly centered around CNC software. As you can see here on the screen, I have several different programs on my screen. And I have two CNCs now. I have a Shapeoko 4 XXL CNC that mainly operates off of Carbide Create version 7 and Carbide Motion. And then I have a Bulkman 3D Queen Bee, or Ultimate Bee CNC, which has a 4 foot by 4 foot work area. So, and the way it works off of any kind of software that will generate G-code, and then you can set it up for CNC.js, which I have over here. I never have used that. I started using G-Sender first. I went ahead and downloaded that because I didn't know what I was going to use right off. But I downloaded G-Sender and I like it fairly well. It's fairly easy to calibrate your machine and to start using if you're not used to it. Now, I just edited the tab. That's the reason why the image looks different. I'll open this up here in a minute and show you. It's an older version of Carbide Create. It's actually the V6 version. Reason being, V7 doesn't allow you to save in G-code unless you are a pro member. Version 6 allows you to automatically be able to save straight to G-code. Now, there's 2 or 3 different things you gotta do differently compared to the laser engraver. Now, if I'm just starting, so today we're just going to do a basic welcome sign and we'll put a design on it. First thing I would do is I would come up here and click on Inkscape. That's kind of my go-to. Carbide Create will allow you to trace images that you've downloaded offline, but the tracing function isn't the greatest in the world. So I opt to go to Inkscape first, convert my images to an SVG file, and go from there. So we've got our Inkscape loaded up. First off, we're going to expand this here. This is our work page, basically. We're going to increase that to the size of material we would be using on our machine. And normally what I have is 1x12s that I pick up from local hardware store or local lumber stores, FS Van Hoos or Lowe's, which are both fairly local to me. And they measure 11 and a quarter, so 11.25. And then most of my basic signs I make 24 inches long. That's what I do for my stock signs as well as for my signs that I sell custom. I normally stick to that 11 and a quarter by 24. If somebody wants it different, I always let them know I can do custom, but this is the stock size I start with. Now you can see we've just made a big rectangle. Our page size here hasn't changed any. We're going to go up here. We've got this selected, the rectangle. We're going to go up here to edit, come down to resize page to selection. We're going to click that, and then we are going to delete the rectangle. And you can see now our page has increased in size. So Next, we're going to get us our lettering behind it for our main writing across the top. And we're just going to select one. This one here looks fairly good on most things I use it on. It's called 1873 Winchester. It's all the fonts that I use for my signs I get from Dafont, DAFONT.com. They're all, well, 90% of them are completely free to use however you wish. There's some that are for non-commercial use only, and some that requires you to make a donation to the artist that created them or whatever. But we're just going to go ahead and we're going to type in welcome like this, and you can see that's super huge. It doesn't need to be near that size. Our sign is only 24, so, and this right now is measuring over 25 inches. So we're going to shrink that down to about 20 anyway. Now you see what I've done there. It didn't decrease the height. It just decreased the length. So we're going to hit Control Z on our keyboard, and this lock right here, right there where the arrow is at, we're going to click on that and lock it into place. Then we're going to go back in and we're going to make that 20. And see, that time it shrunk both the length and the width. Now it's still a little bit larger than I would like as far as taking up so much of my sign, so we're going to shrink it this way a little bit, take it down to somewhere around 3 3/8. Okay, we're at 3 3/8 by 20. Now we're going to get us a picture. So we're going to go to File and then to Import. Okay. Now you can see here I've got 3 different patterns on my screen currently. All of these I found either on Google, just Google search, or on Pinterest. You can search for tons of different things, but that's how I always seem to find my patterns. And what we are going to do is we will click on the first one we're wanting to work with. We'll click Path up here toward the top, and we will click on Trace Bitmap. You can see this here pop-out will come out. Click on Update. Now it's set at 450, the brightness threshold. You can adjust that if like there is some text or something around it where somebody's promoting something and you want to use it. You can just adjust that, and it will account for different things. Like if it's lighter colored, it will make it darker. You can go all the way up to, I think it's like 900 and something before the entire picture will go black. And we'll just click OK, and we'll shrink it down. Right here is our design now. We'll pull that over here to the side. We'll go ahead and we'll delete the original it came from. Now we'll do that with the second one. Update. OK. Shrink it down. Pull this one up. Delete. And then our third and final. Update. Okay. And we'll go ahead and X out of that because we won't need it no more. Not unless we give something up, that is. And we'll just delete all that. Now, we got to figure out which orientation we want these in. I'm thinking I want to do this right here. That. And this is 24 inches, so if we divide 24 inches by 3, that's going to equal 8 inches. So we'll just bump each one of these. We'll leave this locked so that the deer and the elk sizes stay the same. Well, they're all, sorry. We'll just leave it like that. We'll make it 8. That will adjust that size. This one at 8. And then we'll do this one at 8. Sorry. 8. Okay. Now, that would put us all the way to the ends here. And you can see they want to automatically pop over to I'm assuming it's a node inside of the design, but we're not wanting it to physically do that. Little tip, the scroll knob on your mouse automatically just takes you up and down, but if you hold control at the same time, you can zoom. Then we're just going to use our directional pad on our keyboard to adjust this to where we want it. And I'm just going to get them to where they overlap right like that. And so you can't hardly tell that that's even a pattern. Now we're going to scroll over here to this one, bring it a little closer. Select it. And that should fit off yet. Better to overlap than it is to under a little bit, because it will make it show a white line there. Now we've got all 3 of our patterns together the way we want them. So we're going to go back to Path. We're going to click on Combine like that. And we are going to adjust this sign size. Reason being, because it will make our design go all the way out to the edges. And that leaves a lot of room. It doesn't leave a lot of room for error if we're working with that tighter tolerances. So what we're going to do is we're going to shrink this. We're going to shrink it to 22 inches even. And then we will click on this, which is Align and Distribute. And we will click on, make sure it's set to page, and then we will set it for center, like that. And then you can adjust this up or down however you want it. And then we'll bring Welcome back down a little bit. We'll make sure that it is aligned to the center of the page, which it wasn't, it is now. Now we're just going to select the whole thing, and we're going to click Combine again. That combines that into one solid image. Now we're going to save this. Click Save As, and we're just going to put, for this, video 1. That just make it easy for me to find again. Click OK. It has saved it. We're going to go ahead and click our X. Now, first I'm going to show you with the Shapeoko. We will click on our Carbide Create V7. We'll click on Import. We will go to our Inkscape file here. As soon as I find it, it's video 1. I've got this set for the date modified to be shown at the top. And here is our design. Now, come in here like this. You can see that those designs have overlapped here. It's the same at the other end of this centerpiece. We're going to click right here on the edit, which is Trim Vectors. And we're going to erase those 2 lines there. But scroll on over across this center section. See right here, we're the same way. So we'll do that. We'll fix that one where it was overlapped. and that's the end of it. He'll pop up when you don't have no more overlapping vectors. But now I'm going to show you something. If you just click out of it, you see part of that design is pink now. That means it's not connected. Where we deleted or erased those overlapping lines, those are no longer connected now. So we'll reselect, and then we'll click over here where it says join vectors. And then when we click off of it, it will automatically be solid black. And there we go. Now we're going to select all of the text, and we'll group vectors together. And this is all right here. We're going to click join vectors or group vectors again. That sets that as one solid piece and that as one solid piece. So what we're going to do now is we'll click both pieces and do the same. There's a reason for that. We're doing it in that order I'll show you about now. First, let's make sure our material size is right. You'll click up here on the gear, and then you'll set your size of material. You'll set your width first, your height, the thickness of the board. The ones that I work with are 0.76 most times. When you're doing just a regular sign like this, it doesn't really matter what you set the thickness of the material to, at least I've found, as long as you're not doing a pass-through cut. That's when that thickness comes into play. As long as you're just engraving on top of something, that doesn't really matter. And then your material, the machine you're using, how high you want it to retract. That means like if it goes, say, to the E here, and it carves this part, and then it wants to come over here to the O and carve a part, that's how high it will come off of the work surface from the Z where you set your 0. How high it will raise before it moves over to the O. So that's set at 1/4 of an inch. You can go smaller if you wish, but I leave it at that. That gives me a little bit of a buffer room. And then you can set it whether you want millimeters or inches. I normally keep it on inches. And then just click OK. Now we're set with our material size. Now all of that is grouped together. We're going to click here, which is align vectors. We'll click right here. Make sure it says align to stock. And we will click the center or align centers. See, that aligns the entire thing to the center of our workpiece. Now if we click this, which is ungroup vectors, see they turn back where this is just dotted and this is solid. But it didn't ungroup them individually. You can do that now if you wish, but it just ungroups them from each other. Now we'll go to our Toolpath, and for the welcome, I'll do a advanced vcarve. That's the one thing about the Shapeoko that I really, really love. The ability to do the advanced vcarve and do the pocket clearing with one. You can do all of this with one saved Toolpath and have multiple bits. With the Ultimate B, you can't. You have to save it in multiple groups, multiple Toolpaths to be able to do that correctly. But I've got this set for a 30-degree bit. I can change that, but these little fine lines that are acting as the shadows of those letters really require that. So we're going to activate the pocket tool. And we will just click that to enable area pocket, which it will go in here and clear out all this extra waste. And I've only got it set at 1/4 of an inch depth. You can see it calculates it. It's 213 minutes. Now, I'm not going to cut this, but it's a showing you how it will do. Now I can go back in here and edit that away from that 1/8 inch bit and put in a 1/4 inch bit. What that will do is that'll take less passes, and it cuts it down to 52 minutes for that. So instead of it being an hour, instead of it being 215 minutes, which is over 3.5 hours, it cuts it down to only under an hour of cutting. And these dark solid blue areas means that it will take the 30-degree bit, and it will go through there and clear out that with it. And then it will come in with the 1/4 inch bit and do the main bulk material removal. Now we'll do the same thing with the design down here. We've got it set for our 30-degree bit again, and 1/4 inch depth of cut. And we're going to again do the clear out, but this one we won't have any other option but to let it use an 1/8 inch bit. It's just too small for it not to. And I've got some bits that are made by Shapeoko that are long cutting surfaces, so they can reach down farther than the standard one that comes from Carbide. But I've got that set in and doing the pocketing as well, and it's calculating. Okay, now it says it'll take it 111 minutes for that. Now, like I said, I'm not going to carve this. This is just a showing for you guys. But we're going to adjust our simulation to pine, which is what we would be carving this out of. And then we're going to click on the show Toolpath. Because if you just click here, it shows simulation. It will bring up all the different trimming marks and everything for what your bit's actually going to do, which blocks out 90% of your sign design from review. You can see all the red lines, all the green lines. You can't see everything. So I always turn that off, which takes off the rapids as well. And then it just leaves you with the bare sign. And you can see that looks really, really good. I'm really pleased with how that looks. So, now that we've got it for this one, and see, both of these would be saved as a single toolpath, and we would be able to cut this all at one time on the Shapeoko, because it will prompt for a bit change, it will reset its Z-axis, all of that. The Ultimate B, unfortunately, is not set up yet, so we're going to have to redo this if we decided to do this on it. Now, like I said, the Ultimate B, mainly reason I wanted it was because of the 4 foot by 4 foot work area. I am going to be doing some detailed double-sided welcome signs here very shortly, but the detailed signs like this will go quicker on the Shapeoko because you have less stopping and starting and all that. So let me go and open this up into the Carbide Create version 6, and we'll see what that looks like. We're going to click on our first one. We're going to click Advanced vcarve, just like we had a minute ago. We're going to leave it set for the 30 degree, like that. Okay, now this toolpath, you can see here, that blue line is the travel of the center of our bit. That is what it's going to be. Now, it's going down 1/4 inch, and I have a little cheat sheet here that we can go off of. For 1/4 inch, that means our cut width is a total of 0.1356. So that's less than 3/16, but more than an eighth. So if we take our calculator and put in 0.1356 and we divide that by 2, that's going to come out to 0.0678, which is a little bit more than a 1/16 of an inch, which is 0.0625. So we're going to go back to design here. We've already got this selected. We're going to click on offset vectors. We've got it set to inside. We're going to put in that got 0.0678, which is what we came up with, and there we go. It's already set to inside. We're going to click apply. Now you can see that put that line to the inside here. Now we'll go back with that selected. You can see that that lines up perfect with our center of our bit cut line. And I did a test with this other day, and it actually worked. So I've not seen nobody do a video on it. So just keep that in mind. And you can figure out all of these, or you can screenshot that right there. I hope that's clear enough for you to be able to see. If it's not, feel free to comment, and we'll work it out where I'll take a picture of this and email it to you if nothing else. It's a little cheat sheet for 60 degree, 90 degree, 120 degree, and a 30 degree bit. But we've got that selected now, that inset that we just put on there. We're going to click on pocket. Now this may or may not work. You can see right here in some of these areas. It comes in there like that, but it doesn't go all the way out to these little points. And up here, it doesn't really do all that much. See that? But we're going to leave it set at that 1/4 of an inch, just the same with our 1/8 inch bit. We're going to click OK. And you see it says 91 minutes. We was at 53, I think it was, 53 or 56 minutes a minute ago, with letting the Shapeoko do the entire thing. So at this, we are at 91 plus 30. We're at 121 minutes for doing the same thing. Now we're going to click on this. We will do the same thing, very same thing. 30 degree, click OK. Come over here. We're going to click offset, same amount, inside, click apply. As you can see now it's got the orange highlighted. Go back, click pocket, same bit, same depth, click OK. Let it do that thing. 110 minutes for the advanced vcarve with 30 degree bit, and 34 minutes for the pocket. We was at 111 minutes total to do both bits with the Shapeoko. This is 110 plus 34. That makes 144 minutes. So that's another 30 or 40 minutes longer. So now we're getting to the part where we would be saving this to be able to cut it on our machine. The other way, like I said, we would just be saving it as one total file. On this, we can't do that. We have to save this in sections because we can't do bit changes during the course of a toolpath. We have to do one bit, then load another toolpath and do the second bit. So what we will do is we will take the advanced vcarves and we will put them side by side because both of them are 30 degree bits. Then we will put the two pocketing toolpaths next to each other, which are 1/8 inch bits, both of them. What we will do, we will come in here, right click on our pocket passes first and disable both of them. You can see it just leaves our 30-degree bit passes. We will save the G code as and we will label it 30-degree bit. We will load it in, do our 0, make our cut. Then we will come back and we will disable the 30-degree bit tool pass, and we will enable the 1/8 inch tool path. That right there. And then we will take and we will only reset our 0. Once we change the bit, we will 0 the bit off of the material again, but just the Z axis. The others are left at the same point that they were to begin with. And then we will cut this. And when it is all said and done, set this. When it is all said and done, we will end up with a sign that looks almost identical to what we had on the other. You can see here we have a little differences, especially in the letters here. You can see right here in the E, we have a ridge. We did not have that on the other because the 30-degree bit went in and made multiple passes and cleaned that out. Same within these points. Now it still doesn't look bad when you cut that, but you can, if it bothers you, you can go in with a small 1/4 inch chisel and you can clean all that out. In the design down here, same thing. In the smaller spots, like here in the elk's neck and the body of this smaller elk, and in a few other spots, it is too small for the 1/8 inch bit to actually get into. Now, if you had a 1/16 bit, you could do the initial pass and then go back with the 16th bit and clear all that out. But that's not enough to concern me with it. If it bothers me, I'll go in with a pocket knife or a little chisel and clean that out. But it doesn't look bad once you spray it with the paint and sand it off. Really the only way I would worry about chipping that out with a chisel is if when I sanded it off, it left a high spot where the sander actually sanded black paint off it. That's the only way I would bother it. I would even think about just taking a little paintbrush with some black paint and just painting back over it, because it still looks really, really good. But that is what we would do, and we would end up with a sign that looks like this, and it looks just as good. There's just some couple of things that are not as finely carved and detailed as they would be on the Shapeoko. And that's the main difference between the two machines. The Shapeoko can do the really intricate, detailed stuff like this easier because of the advanced V-carve. That function is worth its weight in gold, especially when it's combined with the bit probe that's made onto the machine, where you can do the bit changes during your time of carving. Now, as we can see, this added overall about an hour to an hour and 10 minutes to our total carve that the Shapeoko would have took. If you're just doing this as a weekend warrior, doing this for a little bit of spare money, or like I am, a side business, that's not really going to affect you that much out there. It doesn't me anyway. But if you're doing this as a full production shop, you're doing this full time, or you're on a very, very serious time crunch, that an hour you're doing multiples of these could really affect you over time. So that's just something you got to take into account. That's where Carbide comes through on their machines. They make it easier for you, the first-time user or the production shop user, to use their machines. Onefinity is the same way. I don't own one, but I've seen like Izzy Swan and several other creators that have done videos on them, and you can see all of that firsthand. They're all meant to be more user-friendly, quick to use, all of that. So that's just something to keep in mind. There's a big price difference between the two machines. Like I've said on previous videos, the Shapeoko was sent to me completely free. They did send me a list that showed how much the machine and all the stuff they sent me was worth. And it was around, it was up there. It was around $2,700. The Bulkman 3D Ultimate B, I have a Carbide 3D router on it. I got me some fans and some filters for my controller box to keep sawdust out. All in all, probably about $1,400. That's for a 4 foot by 4 foot capable machine, all ball screw driven, linear bearings, no belts at all, which I've not had no issues out of belts, but I know other people have. But I mean, you're going from what you're paying for when you get to Carbide, what I'm trying to get out, is you're paying for the ease of use. You get that machine, I had it hooked up and running within 6 hours, and I'd never put one together before in my life. The open builds, or the Bulkman 3D Ultimate B, it probably, if I added all the time together that it took me to get the machine together, wired up, everything, because it's a bolt-one kit. There's not one piece of that thing that is put together already for you when you get it, other than the controller and the power supply. You have to wire everything into them from the machine, the stepper motors, all of that. I would say me only putting together the Carbide 4, it probably took me, probably a week's worth of time. Now it took me several months because I work full time and because I procrastinate super heavy. And I kept worrying about I was going to hook something up wrong. But once I got over that, it went together fairly easy. The mechanical part of it was super simple. Getting everything dialed in as far as calibration, that took me a little time. And getting the wiring all done, that took me more time than anything. The calibration on it went fairly simple thanks to several videos. I'll touch more on that when I do the overview of that machine. But the main machine went together fairly easy. It was just the calibration. That's the thing about the Carbide. If you get it, it comes fairly simple. You get the Carbide Create, you get Carbide Motion on your computer. When you open Carbide Motion, you plug in your CNC. It asks you what is your machine, if it's a 4 or 5, whatever. You put in what it is, what kind of Z-axis it's got. You put in the size of the machine that you purchased. 4 foot by 4 foot if you've got a 5, or the 30 by 30 that's mine, like the 4 XXL. And you hit go. It automatically calibrates it, figures everything out, and it's done. You're ready to carve. The calibration on the Ultimate B took me probably 2 or 3 hours just to get it all straight because I'd never done it. If you're used to doing this, I recommend that machine highly, and I've only began to use it. It's, in my opinion, a better bang for your buck because you're getting a way larger machine for literally half the money. If you're looking at 4 foot by 4 foot options, it's more than half the money, because when I looked at the Shapeoko 5 before I got my Bulkman, it was like over $5,000 for that machine. Not saying it's not worth it. The ease of use and everything, that's a big money factor. but it was over $5,000. This one was $1,300. I could have got a spindle and everything with it still for less than half of what the Shapeoko 5 is. Would I love to own a 5? Or yes, I would love to, but that just wasn't in my cards for the time. So, I hope this helps with anyone that's looking for free software. Carbide Create, completely free unless you get the Pro version. You can get the older versions of it. You just have to Google it, and he'll take you to where you can download the older versions of the program to where you can save in G-code. And the version I'm using is Build 652. It allows you to save in G-code. Inkscape, totally free. And then, like I said, all the designs came from Pinterest or Google. All of the fonts for the different writing styles that I have on here came from defont.com. So everything is totally free. It just takes a few more steps than if you have the expensive software that does everything for you. In my work set, this just makes more sense for me for currently. Maybe in the future I might upgrade, but as of now I'm content. But if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I hope y'all like this video. Do ask the questions, whatever you need to know. I'm here to try my best to help you. And I'll be doing a video on the Ultimate Bee fairly soon. So if you have any questions, wondering about it, any of the features, anything that you think of that you want to know about it, please let me know. I will touch on it. Same way with the Shapeoko. I will touch on both of them. I'll be doing a direct comparison between the two, setting side by side. I've already shown the difference of the time frame it takes to do the jobs on them. But far as the machines, I will touch on them and do a comparison on them. So, we'll see you on the next one. Hope y'all have a good day or a good evening or good night whenever you're watching this. Hope it's a good one. And we'll see you later. Bye.